Okay, today we're making the most moist and delicious peanut butter and jelly cake. It's a fun, nostalgic twist on a classic combo with soft, tender peanut butter cake layers, a creamy peanut butter frosting, and a sweet yet perfectly tangy jelly filling. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 180°C or 350°F conventional, and grease or line two 8-inch cake pans. I like using my homemade cake release to grease my tins. You can find the full recipe on how to make it on cakesbymk.com. So once that's done, just set your cake pans aside for now, and next we're going to sift together our dry ingredients. So I've got 210 grams or 1 2/3 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 24 grams or 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. And then give that a good mix with a whisk until it's well combined and set it aside for now. Next, in a large bowl, you want to add in 80 grams or a 1/3 cup of room temperature unsalted butter, 75 grams or a 1/3 cup of unflavored vegetable oil, I use canola oil, 100 grams or half a cup of white granulated sugar, 150 grams or 3/4 of a cup of soft light brown sugar, and 150 grams or 2/3 of a cup of smooth unsweetened peanut butter. And then using a hand mixer or a stand mixer works too. On medium speed, you want to cream everything together for about 3 minutes until it's light, smooth, and creamy. Next, you want to add in 3 large room temperature eggs one at a time while mixing on a low speed, making sure that each egg is mixed in well before adding in the next. Once that's done, you want to add in 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla and 225 grams or 1 cup of room temperature buttermilk, and then mix again on low speed until the batter is smooth and creamy. And now you can set your mixer aside because the rest of the mixing we're going to be doing by hand. Now to finish off the batter, you want to add the pre-sifted dry ingredients from earlier into the wet ingredients, and then using a spatula gently fold until just combined. You want to be careful not to overmix. Now once the batter is ready, you want to evenly distribute it between the 2 cake pans. I like to weigh my cake pans just to make sure that I have an even amount in each cake pan. Once that's done, you just want to give the tins a light bang on the counter to remove any large air bubbles, and then bake for 30 to 35 minutes in our preheated oven, or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs on it. Now once the cakes are baked, you want to let them cool in the cake tins for about 20 minutes just to give them a little bit of time to firm up before running a thin knife along the edges of the pans just to release the cakes from the pans, and then turn them out onto a wire rack to completely cool. Now while the cake layers are cooling, we're going to make our raspberry jelly filling and a peanut butter frosting. So for the jelly filling, you want to place a saucepan over low to medium heat and add in 110 grams or 1 cup of frozen raspberries, 6 grams or 3/4 of a tablespoon of cornstarch, 15 grams or 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, and 38 grams or 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. And then stir everything together until it's well combined. Now you just want to let the mixture gently heat up, stirring occasionally so that nothing sticks to the bottom. And then once the raspberries have broken down, you want to cook for a couple of minutes, and once the mixture is nice and thick, you want to remove it from the heat and transfer it to a heat-proof container before letting it cool completely to room temperature. Now next we're going to make the peanut butter frosting. So in a large bowl, add 340 grams or 1.5 cups of room temperature unsalted butter, 375 grams or 3 cups of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 120 grams or half a cup of room temperature heavy cream, 250 grams or 1 cup of smooth unsweetened peanut butter, and half a teaspoon of salt. And then using a hand or stand mixer, you first want to mix everything together on the lowest speed just until everything is combined, and then increase the speed to a medium-high and mix for a full 10 minutes, scraping down the bowl halfway through. If you're using a stand mixer, then you want to use the paddle attachment. Now once that's done, the frosting should be light, smooth, and creamy. It's honestly one of the best peanut butter frostings I've ever had. So once the cake layers and raspberry filling are completely cool, you can now stack the cake. So I'm starting off by trimming off the tops of my cake layers using a serrated knife so that they're nice and flat. Once that's done, I also like to trim the edges of the cake layers off, but this is more for aesthetic purposes, so you can skip this step if you prefer. Next, I'm placing my first cake layer onto my cake stand and spreading out a generous amount of frosting on top using my offset spatula. I'm then placing some of my frosting into a piping bag with a 1M piping tip on it, and I'm going to pipe a double border around the edges of the cake. This is going to act as a barrier, which is going to stop our raspberry jelly filling from seeping out the edges of the cake. Next, I'm going to place half of the raspberry jelly filling in the center of the cake and evenly spread it out. Once that's done, my next cake layer goes on top, and then I'm spreading out more of the peanut butter frosting on the top and sides of the cake. I then like to go in with my cake scraper to smooth out the edges, and then I also use my offset spatula to bring that top lip of frosting into the middle of the cake so that I have some nice sharp edges. Now next I'm piping a border around the top edge of my cake using the same 1M piping tip, and again this is going to act as a barrier which our remaining raspberry jelly filling is going to sit inside of. And then that is it. My peanut butter and jelly cake is all done. This peanut butter and jelly cake is honestly so soft, nostalgic, and packed with peanut butter flavor, and it has just the right pop of sweet yet tart flavor from that raspberry jelly filling. It's honestly so good. So that is it for today, guys. If you do decide to give this recipe a go, then please do leave a review on our blog. It really helps our content out here at Cakes by MK, and I'll see you in the next video.